Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our latest episode of MSP Business School. As always, I'm Brian Doyle, one of your hosts here, and with me, as every week, I've got Rob Rogers and Tim McNeil from OSR Manage as well. How you guys doing today?
Doing well, sir.
How you
doing
doing?
well.
Good. And the fourth person here in our screen with you today is Tim Schmitt. He's the VP of Client Services at Switchfast. Switchfast is a Chicago-based MSP with a sister company called Nimble Defense that's working on MSSP services. And, he's here today to tell us a little bit about Switchfast story, his own personal story, and hopefully share some nuggets that all of us can learn from. So, Tim, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me, Rob.
Welcome,
and Tim.
sir.
It's a pleasure to meet you guys as well.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
You bet.
So Tim, kick us off. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do over there at Switchfast.
Excellent. Yeah, I am, as you said, my name's Tim Schmitt. I'm our Vice President of Client Services. I also head up our sales and marketing efforts at Switchfast. I manage 4 of our client-assigned CIOs at Switchfast. I hate the term VCIO. I know this is an MSP business school, community and webinar, but the term VCIO, to the prospect, right, to the people they don't know what that means, and so. A fractional CIO. We've got 4 really talented gentlemen that really I would put up as CIOs for any small to mid-sized company if they were hiring. They're not for sale, but just to be clear,
everybody's understanding. Yeah,
they're great. They're awesome, and it's one of our 3 uniques at Switchfast. Is that everybody talks about CIO services, but we really walk the walk and talk the talk there. So I manage that team, and I've been with the company since 2016. This is where I've got my Hair Club for Men a little snippet. I'm not only the VP of Client Services, but I was also a client. So prior to joining Switchfast, I was the president of a small business in the baking industry, and we had 3 locations, 100 employees, ERP, phone system, point of sale system. A lot of technology, a lot of things driving the business, and I have a technical background. I have a degree in computer engineering, so I found myself not only trying to lead the company, but getting sucked into fixing printer problems and updating databases and stuff like that. So I met CEO at Switchfast, Jim Anderson. It's just a wonderfully talented executive, and we were both part of a business peer-to-peer group called Vistage International. And after knowing Jim and getting to know him, and him getting to know me, I just said, Jim, what am I? He just said, I don't know what you've been doing. He's got a real soft sell to himself, so he just said, I'm ready when you are, and I hired them to manage the bakeries. Enterprise, and it was the best thing I did.
So I gotta ask Tim, that's a diverse twist right there.
Yeah, that's.
So how did you?
It is a reverse twist, right? So again, I studied technology. I went out of college. I went to work for a Fortune 500 company and did development and all that work. And then this was right around the .coms got started. So I then packed up everything, moved down to Austin, Texas, got started with a startup company. Was awesome, great experience in my early 20s down in Austin, Texas, but getting experience C-level executives and VCs and in charge of marketing and brewing coffee, cleaning the office and writing code and selling things. And it was really, really awesome. And then when the .com crash happened, I got hooked up with Dell, and that's where I got Fortune 50 sort of experience and was on sort of their executive fast track and just climbed quickly through the ranks. And I was traveling for Dell, and I didn't have any family in Austin, and lost my grandmother in 2005, and it was just something was pulling me back home. And so we had this wonderful family business back home, this baking business that's been in the family for 5 generations. So it was time. This was really the time for me to give it a try. I felt like if I didn't, I would regret that. So gave that up and hung up the tech hat, put on the baking hat, and stepped into that role. So that's what took me into baking. Fast forward a couple of years, I was with the business for 10 years, from 2006 to 16, and trying to figure out succession planning with my father and uncle, who would sooner see each other dead. It was tough. So
Family
I
life,
needed
got
to.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just the
Family
norm.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the norm.
Yeah. Family business was not kind to my family, at least on my father's side. So it was time to move on. It was and I got a ton out of, running a business, and being part of that was exceptional. And Vistage was huge. Switchfast, so thankful for that relationship, because as I was stepping out back into, looking for a job, I was saying, what am I going to do? Do I stay in bakery? Do I go manage bakeries? I was literally interviewing with a Jewish bakery in New York, to manage a kosher bakery. I mean, I'm not Jewish, but we serve a large Jewish clientele up in the north suburbs of Chicago. But it was, I just was torn. What do I do? Or do I go back into tech? So I did look. We did a lot of interviewing. I almost went into government. I mean, I was all over the place. But Switchfast made a lot of sense. And knowing Jim, and knowing the company intimately through Vistage, and so we share quite a bit through that. It was the right move, and great for family. I know we want to talk about work-life balance. Switchfast has really been wonderful for that as well. Yeah, so again, not only VP of Client Services, but also a former client, which has given me great perspective.
Right now, that's a crazy.
When you get to, I've often wondered, you look good, you still got all your colored in your hair, and I said, you're a guy that's been in technology for a while. It was the 10 years in bakery that preserved you. I got it now, because, this is what you look like when you spend 20 years in MSP. But no, good stuff. So, thank you for sharing that. It's always interesting to see how people kind of find their way into in and out of technology. And it's always great for us when we get to hear when people kind of diverge uniquely outside the space. So, you're now at Switchfast.
That's right.
You're in charge of these groups. Talk a little bit about what you're seeing day to day, and what life in the world of an MSP is for you, and where you're seeing success these days.
Yeah, well, this, of course, we're coming off of a truly remarkable year here, last 12 months or so. We've grown rapidly over the last, since I think the last four or 5 years, we've really grown quite quickly, but in a really, steady, organic, healthy way. And that's one of the things about, again, Jim Anderson, came from General Electric and was part of their kind of executive fast track there. And he's got a really great methodical approach to running a business and growing it. One of the great things is that he doesn't have a technical bone in his body. He's our least technical person at Switchfast, which is, from my understanding, is kind of unique in the MSP space, where sometimes you've got this tech head, that's the owner, and he's sort of the smartest guy in the room always, and you have trouble kind of growing beyond that. And Jim makes sure that that's not the case. I mean, he really just surrounds himself with people that are the best in their different area and role. So, what we're seeing out there, I mean, we had a tough year, sales wise. I mean, there wasn't really much happening out there. There was a lot of focus naturally internally, and one of our the things we worked on tough was let's hold on to what we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's support the clients we have. Let's make sure they stay in business. Let's protect that we've built. So we really focused a lot on that, and the energies went in that direction. We sort of shut, it maybe not always the best decision, but we kind of shut down some forward marketing efforts and really just stayed focused on the business at hand. And thankfully, I mean, we did not lose a lot of clients, or we had the same attrition that we statistically have, year over year, which was good to see.
Right.
Outside of, one of the things that we've been talking a lot about is trying to improve our CIO services. And so, a big thing, is getting involved with VCIO Toolbox. And that's something that we've been focusing a lot on. You've been a huge help at, so.
No, we've had a lot of
That's
fun doing that. We try to keep this from being a commercial for any of our companies, but thank you for that. But no,
Shameless
it's good
plug.
stuff.
Yeah.
But I always, but no, it's been great. I mean, again, my greatest joy is that I get to work with MSPs as opposed to just compete with MSPs, and really see how people mature and grow into certain roles. And looking at your team that had a great solid background, but now look at them kind of bringing the business acumen into the mix, right? A little bit. It's been fun to watch from my seat. But
That's right.
with that, let's shift gears a little bit, because you guys had an interesting moment this year, or an interesting thing happened right around COVID time. Want to tell us a little bit about what that was at Switchfast?
Sure. Yeah. So back in, might have been the third or fourth quarter of 2019. It was probably even earlier. I mean, it was, knowing Jim and kind of the due diligence that he kind of goes through. I mean, it was much of 2019. Jim, and with the help of our executive leadership team, which I'm part of, started to take a look at making an acquisition in the MSP space, and small, bite-sized, something that made good sense for us and was a good fit. And that was always, the goal was not just buy something to grow and to grow top line and snap something on. It was really like, let's find, if there's a fit out there, let's make sure that we take a quick look at it and go from there with it. So this particular company came along, and Jim had a relationship with the Jim, and actually another one, our VP of operations, my counterpart in operations, had a previous relationship with the owner of this company, and it just kind of kept evolving. I think the deal failed 3 times, but we decided to make that acquisition. And as Brian, as you mentioned, the timing of it was just out of this world, because the week they started, and we took on the entire team. So they had 6 employees and about 15 customers. The week they started was the first week of March, and we went work from home on like March 10th or something. So, the owner actually became one of our VCIOs, and is part of my team, and he's awesome. He's got a great perspective, brings a lot to the table. But literally, I met him for the week, and then it was time to deploy to work from home. But we were able to convert all their clients over to Switchfast paper. We renegotiated contracts. It wasn't an opportune time. Naturally, everybody's working on trying to stay in business and figure out what the heck's going on with COVID. And then at the same time, we're trying to get them converted over to Switchfast. But we were patient, and it did take longer than we expected, or longer than we'd originally planned, naturally, but we were able to get it done. And as I mentioned before, that particular year, it turned out to be a very slow year for us for new business, but we ended up bringing on, what amounted to, nearly 100K worth of new MRR, through these companies, and MRR that was a good fit for us. I mean, some of it stretched a little bit, but we've made some adjustments, and so really the timing was outstanding, and and it's actually leading us to kind of consider that as part of our growth strategy as we go forward.
Yeah. Hey, so Tim, one of the things that I always hear when there's an acquisition is, the culture that gets brought in, right? The 2 cultures meshing up. Yeah. So you had 2 cultures meshing up, and you had to do it from a work from home basis. Like, how did you guys manage that piece? That seems, that's the tough one.
Yeah.
Rob, it's tough, and that is, I mean, we've got a pretty solid culture at Switchfast, and we have our 4 core values, and we in one of the things that slowed us from just organic growth is really hiring. It's not how fast I can sell, my team can sell Switchfast. It's really how fast we can keep up headcount wise, because I mean, my first or second year here, I mean, we had more business coming in, but we couldn't keep up internally with projects, but also with, technicians and engineers. And again, Jim is just really, he would rather pull back and slow down and make sure we can grow responsibly and serve the clients we have, and feed that culture, make sure the fit's there, than just throwing in a bunch of employees. They're going to pop off, a month or two later anyway. So,
right.
So the culture's always been a big part of it. And and this isn't, I'm not huge in the M&A space. I don't have a lot of experience, but, Jim, he stays focused in that area, or at least a portion of his time is always sort of, hey, what's out there, what's available. And he was able to work through, I mean, part of this maybe having the relationship with the previous owner, but we were able to actually meet with some of those, I think all of the employees, we were able to meet with them prior to even inking up anything other than like a letter of intent or something. So that was crucial, because we really wanted to know this wasn't just about grabbing 15 clients and this amount of MRR, but it was like, we wanted some of the employees, because those they would be very valuable as well. So, and we kind of formally interviewed them and made sure that each of them would be a fit, and it just worked out that way. Yeah. So, the piece about the culture with work from home, challenging. I mean, we have a formal HR director who's really, really just an outstanding, team member. And Victor, played an integral role in making sure that those team members felt at home. And, we have a pretty good team structure, and our VP of Ops has done a great job of making those guys and gals feel included. So,
yeah. Cool. It's so hard to transition under ideal terms when an M&A happens. I've been a part of a few of them, and we would have challenges getting the teams to really meld, just because it's new people, new personalities thrown in the mix that they can't actually sit in a room together. It's impressive that, you guys were able to come in, and obviously that came out of the due diligence that you guys did up front before even entering into that deal. Another thing I wanted to key on that you talked about is you hit something that I think a lot of MSPs don't recognize sometimes. Explosive growth can be as difficult or as bad for a company as no growth. And if you don't look at yourself and say, can we fulfill what we're actually bringing in the doorways, you run a huge red flag of reputation risk at that point, which obviously in our industry, everything really comes out of referrals, could destroy you. Right. So, kudos to you and the management team in really understanding, hey, this is a problem, and really switching the gear to focusing on what you had versus just what you're bringing in.
That's right. I think especially if you're, if the owner is more of a sales-based owner, that's not the norm, right? No. When you get a sales-based owner, it's all right. How many can we get? And
yes,
how
we
fast?
can.
Yep, we can make it work. Don't worry. So
people
that's
holding up the plates everywhere.
Seriously,
house of cards.
Yeah. How many plates can you twirl around at once?
Yep.
So that's good. That's impressive.
So I think we're heading into the home stretch here. Tim, did want to let you share, because we talked a little bit about before. So what are some of the things you do to keep some work-life balance for yourself?
One thing I did, I don't know if I don't want to drop names of apps and things like that, but I did, while I'm not going to go out and spend $3,000 for a Peloton, I did subscribe to their app that they have where they've got classes, and for $13 a month, and you get 60 days free trial. I'm able to access all kinds of things like cardio and yoga and strength training, and all from my home. So I kind of carved out a little space down in the basement, and got the projector up, and I can do live classes. Nice. And I actually build them in. I did 45 minutes of yoga like right before this session. That's so awesome. I'm building Very it cool. right into my workday.
Yeah.
And that's nice, because, if you try to do that during traditional work, where you have to leave the office to go out and go swim or go to the gym and then come back, there's so much downtime between that. Yeah. So this has really been outstanding, where I can just hop away, do 30 minutes of this and come right back. And it's really helped out, keep me sort of grounded and centered. So
that's good, man. Like it's needed right now. Everybody's they've got to do something.
It is. And to your point, I mean, in theory, it's great to go to the gym during the day, but that 45 minutes turns into an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half, just like that.
And then the next day you don't go because you don't want to do an hour and a half, and then that whole yo-yo cycle starts happening.
And then I'll go tomorrow.
I'll go tomorrow.
I'll go tomorrow.
Make up for
it.
it.
Also goes into my biggest belief with the jobs that we have. Look, we can do our 8 to 10 hours a day. They don't have to be in a row. It's just the way the marketplace works, So
yeah, it's true.
It's
very true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I do try to get up early and get a little bit done, before the kids are up and the wife is up and things like that. And that, just get some admin work done. I also schedule that too. So on my calendar, on a Friday, I block my whole Friday afternoon off basically for catch up work that I need to get done. That's piled on or spilled over throughout the week.
Yeah.
But also just to get the week wrapped up and then the next week prepared. So that really helps out.
Very nice.
Tim, you want to take us home with some of the speed round?
Yeah. So we end every podcast. We've got 5 quick questions that I ask everybody, and it's just multiple choice, just first thing that comes to mind, basically. First one is talk, text, or Teams.
Talk.
Okay. Music, movies, or TV.
Movies.
Okay. Awesome. That's a different one. What age do you want to retire?
I think I'd like to retire from having to work by the age of 50 or 55, but I don't see myself retiring. I mean, I love being involved in working. So I will always be involved in either, advisory roles or civic duty or whatever. But as far as having to work, 55, please.
Yeah. And you're kind of hitting on the most popular answer we hear. It's you can't really stop,
Yeah. Gotta always do
something.
Yeah,
right. I'm not the sit at the pool and suntan kind of guy. I mean, I enjoy leisure, but
Mac or Windows?
Windows.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This one might be a little bit of a loaded question only because we were talking about it beforehand, but if you could do anything outside of tech, what would it be?
Anything outside of tech, I would be a dive master on a boat, scuba diving.
Awesome. Very cool.
Somewhere in the Pacific, someplace warm. Yeah,
that's fair. I didn't know if you were going to go the bakery route or not.
No,
no, you did your time.
Never again.
Yeah, listen, I have pictures, from my first birthday with cake smashed in my face. I've been in bakery my entire life. I just turned 44 last week, and it's great, and I love baking. I love being part of it. But running a bakery, I mean, I can't tell you the amount of people that I would meet, doctors, lawyers, professionals that would come in and say, "Oh, I've always wanted to, own a bakery or make cookies and cakes and do all this type of stuff." And it'd be the holidays, it'd be Christmas, it'd be Thanksgiving, and I'm looking at them going, do you realize all this? It's 7 o'clock in the morning. You see all this stuff, like somebody was making this, all through the night, like carrying 100-pound bags of flour and all those types of things. So it's a tough industry. Everybody's got tough industries, but the food business and then baking, it's tough.
Those are
the labor of love has to be. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's got to be there.
Long days. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, we really appreciate you being here today. And for anybody who was looking to get a hold of Tim, we will have his LinkedIn profile with the podcast. And also this episode will be on mspbusinessschool.com or anywhere that you get your podcast. Tim, before we part ways, is there anything else that you'd like to, add real quick?
No, guys, I really appreciate you having me on. It's
sure thing.
Pleasure to meet you, Rob and Tim. Tim, if there's ever a reason why you're not getting an email or something like that, it's because it's probably Brian sending me the email instead.
You're the Tim Schmitt.
I'm the Tim Schmitt. I told him, I said, I'm T1, he can be T2.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I should have probably opened up with, for everybody that Tim might as well be part of this team because he's in on probably 30% of our communication.
Right. Brian swears he sends us emails. He's like, no, I swear.
I sent it. Yeah, no, I got it.
And
I thought you were this fake person. He's like, oh yeah, I went to Tim Schmitt on accident. Yeah, right, sure, Brian.
I'm going to close with, and this is geared for Tim McNeil. He should still be getting my emails because he's not named Tim.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Tim. Appreciate you joining us today.
You bet. Thanks,
All
Brian.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
Take care. Be safe.